So this is the Corsair Void Pro, a new wireless headset specifically targeted for gaming with a new improved microphone. But exactly how pro is it? Let's find out right after this. Cooler Master Master Keys keyboard lineup is now available in 3 sizes to fit within your space, with large, medium and small boards with either beautiful RGB or pure white LED illumination. A little something for everyone. Make it yours with the Master Keys Pro by Cooler Master. Alright, so the new Void Pros come in various price points, from $79 for the USB or the analog versions to the $99 price point or the $129 for the special edition for the wireless edition. I find these price points actually pretty competitive because even though if the sound quality is not amazing, the wireless factor is valuable. So what exactly is new, you might ask, between the Void Pro and the original Voids? Not much has changed. So what Corsair has added now is a new flexible arm for the microphone. So it's just generally sturdier build, but unfortunately it still feels kind of weak at that rotation point, just like the original Void.
Alright, so this is what the microphone sounds like on the new Void Pros. They have added a mic mute functionality by simply pulling the mic up. But I find it weird that we still have a mic mute button on the side that you still have to go in and make sure not to press the on button instead. I do like that there's a red LED on the tip of the microphone to indicate when the mic is muted. And in terms of the actual sound quality of the microphone, it's only okay. It's passable for game chat, but it's nowhere near the depth or the quality of like wired gaming headsets in a similar price range, like the GSP 300 or the HyperX Clouds. In terms of noise cancellation, there is background compression. I am typing on very loud MX Blue switches right now. You can still pick them up, but they are muted. And what you're hearing now is the microphone from the original Void RGB. The thing is, this microphone is very flimsy. It doesn't have any flexibility in terms of where you want to position it around your mouth. But in terms of sound quality, to me, they sound identical to the Void Pros. And finally, for comparison, this is the Sennheiser Game 1, which I think has the best microphone on the gaming headset. It doesn't have as much noise cancellation as the other two, but it has a lot more body to the sound. It's very rich and detailed in the vocals. So if you want to have priority in the microphone quality, then perhaps a wired connection is a better choice for you. We do still have all the same controls on the left ear cup, so you can turn the headphone on, you can mic mute here as well, and there's that one joystick that can increase the volume or decrease the volume. You can change the EQ profiles by single pressing it, or long pressing it enables Dolby Surround. I do like that we can switch within 5 EQ profiles, and you get an audible notification letting you know which profile you're on, and you can play around with the the EQ equalizer stuff so that you can sort of fine-tune and how exactly you like each preset to sound. It's a nice implementation, and the software overall is very simple to use, so it's good. They've also added an LED near the micro USB port to indicate battery level and charging. The one thing that I don't like though is it's constantly flashing, so I'm not sure exactly how much battery it's consuming, but there are levels. So green means it's good, orange means you should probably check out your battery, and red means recharge is needed. So the one thing Corsair definitely needs to improve is letting users know how much charge they have left on their Void Pro headsets. You can check that in the software, it gives you a little percentage, but they don't give you how many hours is left, so that's a little bit unfortunate. And I wish that we had a little button combination that we could press on these buttons so that a voice prompt would say like 10 hours remaining on a charge or something like that, so that it's a little bit more clear on how many more hours you can use this headset before recharging. But the battery life on this thing with RGB enabled is actually pretty terrible. I lost 30% of my charge in just 1 hour. That's unacceptable, so you definitely want to disable this if you don't want to be constantly struggling to recharge the headset, because these RGB LEDs on both sides consume a lot of power. And in comparison, you lose about 15% of the charge in 3 hours of game time, so RGB by default should be disabled and really does not make any sense on this wireless pair. A few more things that I don't like are the glossy parts on both sides, which are gross. They just get covered in finger marks. The size adjustable headband is actually quite good for bigger heads, but it's not as tight as I would like, and they can fall off easily with just a swift head movement. The thing is, they switched out the foam for memory foam, which is now can conform to your head size, but because of this, because it's not as thick anymore, it doesn't sit as snug on your head. However, they have improved the rotation cups mechanism, which feels a lot more sturdy and not as loose as on the original, and can sit on your neck like this, so you don't have to take them off.
Now each Void Pro wireless headset comes with this USB transmitter, but unfortunately you cannot use the headset without the dongle plugged in. For example, if I was to charge the headset with the included USB cable, I needed to have the USB dongle also plugged in order to use this thing. So this USB micro USB at the bottom is only for charging. It does not pass any data. So this, if you go for the wireless version, is a wireless headset only. Now there is an auto shutdown feature built into the headset, which is great to preserve battery life, but unfortunately it doesn't initiate when I shut down my computer. So we went from 17% to 4% in the morning, which is kind of ridiculous. The PC was off, but somehow the headset was still pulling power. Why? So you either have to turn off your headset during the night or get accustomed to plugging it in so you get enough charge for the next day. And for a wireless headset, you kind of lose the novelty of it being wireless if you have to constantly think about the battery life, have to constantly think about turning it off during the evening, or having to recharge it every day and a half in order to have any power come next day. So if you can overlook the battery status, which I think is the major sort of downfall of this headset, the range and the sound quality are actually pretty good. So in the range, they advertise 40 feet. In my example, I could easily go 6 meters with multiple walls in between without any interference to my sound quality. So, you know, if my speakers die and I want to walk around with a wireless headset with streaming audio from my computer, that is absolutely no issues here with the signal. So the 2.4 gigahertz band is doing its job very well. And as for the sound signature, for a wireless pair, these are not terrible. They're not amazing by any means, like my Game 1 that have very good bass response and fantastic clarity for an open style headset. The Void Pros have very good clarity, nice detail, and a lot of power. At 70% volume, I was listening to things comfortably and gives you a little bit extra juice in there if you want to really blast your ears. And surprisingly, without distortion if you go to like 100% volume. In CSGO, my map awareness through audio cues was very familiar. So if you want to use this in competitive scene without the cord, that works. And for more immersion and lots of layered audio cues with bass filled chaos like BF1, still delivered very nice mid-range tones without the bass overpowering all the other frequencies. So if you want good audio without the cord, the Void Pros are way to go. And as for the surround sound itself, it's using the Dolby surround sound, and it's actually not terrible. All it does is just widen the soundstage a little bit so things feel a little bit distant. Stereo imaging becomes like you're trying to hear something from speakers right in front of you instead of hearing something really close in your headset. Things become a little bit more boomy, so the bass is a bit extended and it extends into the mid-range, so it's not too pleasant, but for, you know, for gaming, it doesn't fully destroy the layering. So the positional awareness that you normally get with stereo is not totally compromised in the Dolby surround sound. And I normally don't recommend surround sound, but here it's actually not too bad, but I still would recommend going with stereo if you want to get full positional accuracy, because again, with Dolby surround sound, that positional accuracy is colored and there's some unpleasant bass happening as it extends into the mid-range. So I'm happy that Corsair has developed a good wireless pair that looks good, it's comfortable, and performs very well at range, and audio signature is actually pretty decent. But I think they've really kind of failed in the RGB department, not in the implementation, but in how it affects battery life. If you have a gaming headset that can only last for like 6 hours with the RGB enabled, that's really not a point in having a wireless pair at all. And you know, disabling RGB definitely gives us more time, but I feel like if they've put a slightly larger battery in there so that you can game at longer hours and not having to recharge this thing every like day and a half, then it would have been a lot more appealing for the wireless consumer. I also wish that these USB transmitters were labeled. So for example, if you have 2 Voids and 1 Pro and 1 the original, you'd be able to see exactly what USB transmitter is related to what, because they are not unifying. You cannot use them across your devices. You have to use them with the particular device they come with, which is a little bit unfortunate. You know, I wish they took the Logitech approach and having one USB transmitter that unifies all of their peripherals. Also, the microphone here is actually pretty bad. I wish that they've done some more work in here so that the microphone was more clear. But again, at $99 price point, you cannot compare that to other $99 wired headsets because the convenience of having no wire here is that selling point. So they're compromising on other features like the microphone in here so that you could have no wire. So you kind of have to look at it from both sides and see what you prioritize more, having a wire and better microphone, or having a wireless integration that is more convenient but having worse audio and having a worse microphone. Always stay charged with Linky power-up power banks, housed in gorgeous aluminum enclosure with dual USB and Type-C port with support for Quick Charge 3.0 to get your devices recharged fast. Available up to 20,100 mAh capacities. Check them out in the description below. And so that's my take for the Corsair Void Pros RGB. I like the headset, but again, the battery status and the battery life is the most disappointing on this thing. The wireless convenience, of course, is a huge benefit, and it's gonna stay at my desk for when I need the audio and have to move around the office if I don't want to use my speakers. And also, for a gaming situation, if you're going a full wireless gaming setup, then perhaps look at these as well. So guys, I'm Dimitri with HardwareCanucks. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and check out all these other relevant videos, and we'll see you in the next video.